Hi, fourth grade mathematicians, and welcome to Virtual Week 3. Can you believe that we have made it for 2 weeks learning online? I am sure that this has been a learning change for all of us, including myself. But I just wanted to tell you how proud I am of you, because during this difficult time of change, you have all rose to the occasion. And so I am very proud of you, extremely proud. So I want to talk about what you're going to be learning this week in math. And as you've already picked up last Friday, you picked up your little checklist. Our learning objective, our goal for this week, is that by the end of this week, you're going to be able to be fluent. That means do it well with the U.S. standard algorithm, the traditional way, for addition and subtraction. And then at the end of this week, we're going to start exploring the 10,000s place and what the number 10,000 actually looks like, okay? So let's take a peek at the problem that I've already put up on the board for us. We have 625 minus 287. So here's a problem that we're going to solve in just a moment. And I'm going to give you some problems, some starter problems that you could use to maybe get your mind in the right direction of how do I work out this problem. So let's take a peek at those. And you did some of these when you did addition, so you can do those with subtraction as well. So let's look at some starter problems to this problem. So we have 625 minus 200 equals. We have, let's see, 625 minus 300 equals, you might be scratching your head a bit going, 200, 300, problem's 287. We'll look at those in just a minute. And then, let's see, 287 plus 13, where did that come from? And then we're going to take a peek at one that's the U.S. standard algorithm. So we're going to say 625 minus 287. Make sure you can see that. Let me fix my, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of the start of this one. Okay, so I'm going to go make that a 1 and I'll make that a 15. All right, so again, this is similar to what you did with addition already, but only this time you're going to notice that the last starter problem is the U.S. standard algorithm for subtraction. And the start is slightly different than with addition. Okay, so I want you to think about how each of these starts could help you solve the original problem of 625 minus 287. And then I want you to choose one of these starts to help you solve the problem. Now, I'm going to pause the video, give you a moment to get out a piece of paper and pencil and copy down this problem, but then choose one of these ways to work it out. I'll be back with you in just a moment. All right, I'm back. So let's take a peek at these starter problems. Let's first start with the 625 minus 200. Now, I know that when I minus 200, I'm only taking away 2 of those hundreds, and my tens and ones are going to stay the same. So that's going to be 425, but I can't stop there because I've only taken away 200. So now I have to go 425 minus 80. And I know some of you might be a little bit troubled of 80. That means I have to go back 100. Well, don't you know you can break that 80 into 20 and 60? Because 20 plus 60 equals 80. And if you subtract 425 minus 20, that's 405. And then 405 minus the 60 gives you 345. And then we're going to take the 345 and subtract the 7. And again, you're going to have to go back a 10. So you could break this into 5 and 2. 5 plus 2 is 7. And if you subtract 5, that gives you 340. Subtract 2 more, that gives you 338. Now, this way of doing it is breaking apart the number, decomposing the number, okay? So now, let's go to this one right here, 287 plus 13. Well, all we did when we did 287 plus 13 is we added it up to get to a friendly number. And remember, friendly numbers are those numbers that have the 0, okay, that have that 0 at the end. So 287 plus 13 is 300. And all we're doing is we're counting up until we get to 625. So now 300 plus another 300 gets us to 600. And then 600 plus 25 more gets us to 625. And you say, but Miss Elliott, how do I get the answer from that of 338? I'm so glad you asked. You're going to add the 13, the 300, and the 25 together. And when you do that, 300 plus 25 is 325. And then 325 plus 10 more is 335. And then plus 3 more is 338, which is exactly what we got right up here. So there's another way you could work out this problem. But let's look at this one. We said 625 minus 300, whereas up here it was minus 287. What did we do in this problem? Think about it. Okay, we estimated the 287 up to a friendly number, to 300. So we'd have all those zeros, and it would make it easier for us to subtract. Because 625 minus 300 gives us, because you're just taking away the 300s, 325. And then the additional 13 that we took away, we now have to add it back in to give us 338. Did you know you could manipulate numbers like that and still get the same answer? That's what we're going to be learning a lot about this year in 4th grade, okay? So now, I want to take a peek at this guy right here, which brings us to today's lesson of subtraction using the U.S. Standard Algorithm, okay? So I want you to think through the steps that I did, and I want you to explain or think about my reasoning. Why did I do that? I'm going to go ahead and tell you that when you're subtracting and the bigger number, like this, is on the bottom, you better borrow from your neighbor. And so what I see here is that I have 5 minus 7. Now, I don't have our 5 fingers. How can I take 7 away? Can't do it because the bigger number's on the bottom, the 7. So I have to go to the very next place, my neighbor, and I have to borrow. I have to take one group of 10 away. So that is how I got the 1 up here. I took one group of 10 away from the 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1. And the one group that I took away, I added it to my ones place. So what I did was one group of 10 plus the 5 ones that I already had. 10 plus 5 is 15. It's really important you know what these numbers right here mean. So let's continue on to see what in the world am I going to do now. So now 15 minus 7 is 8. And then we come to the tens place. And we have 1 minus 8. Uh-oh. The bigger number's on the bottom, so you have to borrow. That's exactly right. So who am I going to borrow from? If you said the hundreds place, that's right. And remember, you borrow from the number on top, not the number on the bottom. That's what you're taking away. This is what you have. So we have 6, so we can take one group away. Is that one group of 10 or one group of 100? one group of 100 because it's in the hundreds place. So I have 600 minus 100, and that leaves me with 500. And then what I took away, I've got to add it to my neighbor. They have one group of 10, and I want to add a group of 100 to a group of 10. And that gives me 110. Now we don't need to put the 0 on there that's in the ones place because we've already taken care of it. So we just make this in 11. But it's not really in 11. It really represents 110. Remember, we don't put the 0 because we've already taken care of the ones place. So now I have 11 minus 8. The bigger number is now on the top, so I can subtract. So 11 minus 8, which is really 110 minus 80, that gives us 3 or 30. And now the bigger number's on top, so 5, because we marked out the 6, so it's 5 minus 2, and that is 3. 338, which is the exact same thing that we got on the 4 other ways that we subtracted. Now, today you're going to be working on pages 301 and 302. Okay, so in those pages, you've got some work, in those workbook pages, you've got some problems. And you can choose any 2 of the starter problems that you want for each of those problems. Now, I do encourage you to use some familiar strategies and then maybe also try ones that are not as familiar. And you can come back and forth to this video to help you out, okay? So that you can always keep expanding different strategies and find the one that works the best for you. Now, you're going to work on those pages, and then the next video you watch, or we're going to talk about some of those problems. So until next time, I'll see you in just a bit. Bye for now.